Okay, I am Chris Avina with American Outdoor News, and today we have some really special for you. We have NRA board member Amanda Suffecool and our friend Marcus Kahn. Marcus, now, you are not on the board of the NRA, but you are certainly in the know.
Well, I am now. I am not a board member. I'm not actually even a member. I'm not. How I fit into this is one of my business partners and good friends, Charlie Hiltonen, is an NRA big guy in there, and he told me the story of what happened. I'm certainly a big supporter of the NRA, and I'm a bigger supporter of the Second Amendment, and that's the NRA's job, is to protect that, among other things. I'll put myself really as a patriot. I understand the Constitution. I understand the founding fathers' genius. I understand why we have the Second Amendment, which all the side benefits are great, but the Second Amendment is to protect us from a corrupt regime. And right now, we've been walking on that borderline. And if you talk with a lot of people like I have, especially a lot of ex-military guys, they're getting trigger ready with the nonsense that was going on. So anyhow, thank God for Trump. Thank God for Trump and his group and the military behind him. But Charlie told me what was going on in the NRA, what had happened and what is happening now, which is really, really important. And he explained to me effectively the cabal, which has worked their way into every organization in our country and throughout the world. These guys have worked their way into the NRA, and they were corrupting the mission and not doing what they're supposed to do. And it was a mess, and people were losing heart, and the mission was losing focus. And if that happens, guess what? The Second Amendment's weaker, and our ability to protect ourselves goes into another level. So when he explained to that, but then he explained the good news. He said, myself and a couple other key people took control of that organization, and they figured out how to get enough of the bad guys out, and they've got the majority control. So they started to get it back on track. And then he said, now they got this election coming up, which is happening right now, and it's really important that by the time we're done talking, Amanda's done talking, they'll understand what's really going on, what they need to do. But we can help the NRA, help our country, help the world by getting these new leaders elected, and they're going to take this organization and get it right back on track as they're flushing out more of the old, quote, cabal people. And I know it's a lot worse than some people want to say, but I just know from the inside out it has to happen. So Charlie introduced me to Amanda, and he said, she is awesome lady, engineer, knows all the stuff about the NRA background, the vet, and what's going on in there. And she said she is so cool. Her last name is Suffecool. And I've been like joking around with that, but she really is. She's a great lady and a really good spokesman, and she's got her own syndicated radio show too. So we know she's a good spokesman, and she is going to tell the story from the inside out, answer people's questions, answer your questions and stuff. So I was introduced to Amanda because she's awesome explaining the details of this.
Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate you taking the time to really give us an inside look of what's going on with the NRA today. And, well, what steps are we actually taking to rebuild us back to what we should be?
Okay, well, that's a great question. So there's a couple things. I mean, there's been a lot of folks who have said, not one more dime till Wayne is gone. So Wayne quit, resigned in February of last year. So we're just 1 year post Wayne, but it was bigger than Wayne. It's more than Wayne, and as I saw from a statement that someone just said the other day, you can't turn around a 5-year spiral headed for the center of the earth in one short year, and that's kind of where we are and what's going on. So to go backwards a little bit, know that Letitia James sued the NRA, and when she did that, her intent was to defund it, disband it, and to take all the money from the NRA and give it to New York-based gun safety organizations. That would be Everytown for Gun Safety, Moms Demand Action, Bloomberg. If you get that, you understand that gun safety organizations have a completely different connotation if you're pro-gun than they do if you're anti-gun.
Yeah.
So the NRA was absolutely fighting for its very life. And because of that, and because of the lawsuit, and because of lawfare, it expended a lot of money to stay alive. So now here's where we are. We are post that lawsuit. Letitia James was not successful. In fact, she actually did us a favor, if you sort of think that, because she helped ferret out a lot of the grift and the things that that people had not had the ability to see deep enough to get to. You know, you knew that there was, you believed that there was some hanky stuff going on, but absolutely knowing it based on the courts is a completely different thing. So toward that, Wayne LaPierre had to pay back to the NRA more than $5 million. The treasurer had to pay back to the NRA $2 million. The Josh Powell, who was one of his key people, had to pay back $100,000. And so the treasurer has not paid their $2 million. Wayne has paid his $5 million, though it had to go into escrow because he immediately filed an appeal. But the NRA has the money. The money is sitting there, but now we wait through the appeal. So all of that to say that one of the things that happened was the NRA stopped marketing, stopped advertising, stopped kind of talking to its members, because one of the things that had happened over the years was that Wayne was a spokesperson. That Ackerman McQueen, the marketing firm, said no other person speaks for the NRA except for the marketing department and for Wayne LaPierre. With both of them focused other places or completely shut down, we didn't market. So you look at any organization and you stop marketing for, well, it was actually from 2018 to 2025, so it was 6.5 years, it suffered. And so that's where we are. But additionally, we have people that are still on the board that, Marcus calls them Nicobal, I call them friends of Wayne, that even when they saw the data, even when they saw the facts, even when they saw the testimony where he said, well, I did this or I did that, they still are supporters of Wayne. Mm-hmm. They need to go. It's really that simple. And so there's a group, and that group has put together a slate of candidates for this year's election. Know that the board cycles through their 3-year terms. So the election this year will replace 1/3 of the board, and then next year another third, and then the following year. So even though there's Friends of Wayne embedded in the board, it's a 3-year process with everyone's help to route them out. And so we are asking, vote. That's really it. I'm here to answer questions and to tell you that this vote, this election, is the most critical. Last year, 2.3 million people were eligible to vote for the NRA board. 77,000 voted. So if we could get 100,000 people out of 2.3 million, if we could get 100,000 people to vote for our slate of candidates, we can change the trajectory and change the future. And that's
we need basically 0.5% of the membership to actually get out and vote. Now,
and it's 0.5% of the eligible to vote membership, because all membership cannot vote. You had to meet certain criteria. You had to either be a dues-paying member for 5 continuous years with no breakage, mm-hmm. or be a life member.
Well, I know a lot of people let their membership lapse.
Correct.
Because of Wayne and because
Correct.
of what was going on, and it was very evident that the NRA was Wayne's personal piggy bank, and there was a lot of nepotism going on, i.e. the marketing firm, and a lot of other things. It runs a lot deeper than that, as we know. The NRA was not doing the right thing by its members. It was not mm-hmm. doing what it was set out to do. What would a new board do to rebuild the trust and the strength of the organization moving forward?
Okay, well, there's a couple things. One is, even though the NRA was not marketing, do you know that the Bruin lawsuit, the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin, was
Correct.
funded 100% by the NRA?
I was not aware of that.
That's the problem right there. So the NRA was doing things, continues to do things. They just didn't tell anybody. It was a big darned secret. And so that's the first piece. So we need to get the word out. We need to talk to people. We need to keep the NRA and the fight and our rights on the tip of your tongue, on the point of your mind, and not just somewhere back in the library. The other thing we need to do is we need to run the NRA like it's a business and not like it's just a personal yacht club. And so when we looked at the slate of candidates, we've got a couple military guys. We've got people that did compliance and like kept airplanes in the sky. We've got business owners and accountants and people who were involved with the Friends of NRA in the banquets and on a heavy basis. So what we did was we went and looked for people in the areas that we knew that the NRA was weak right now, and those board people to come in to bolster and to support and to prop it up. And so that's really what we're doing, is we're trying to build a team of active working board members that are all volunteers that can and will help the NRA rise and shine again.
Well, I've served on the board of non-for-profits, and it is a daunting process. It is a lot of work. So I personally really don't have a problem with fringes, maybe doing something for the board members for their hard work. But again, you have to set out to keep it on course. I know the members are very concerned about the financial management and the transparency of where the funds are being allocated to. Right.
No, and part of it is that right now, I believe that we turn the corner in September. And so we are on an upward trajectory, and so the lawsuit is over. The whatever you want to call it, the NRA 2.0, the group that is on the website, Elect a New NRA, the board members who are solidly believing in change or change agents, those groups. I believe that we're on a forward trajectory, and there's a lot of different signs for that. Most of the day-to-day members won't see the signs until they are shining stars in the future. I mean, it's sort of like, here's the ship, and the ship is headed over Niagara Falls. No one sees progress in the fact that the ship slowed down. Right? We see it as progress, though, because it's no longer forward motion. No one sees progress when the ship turned sideways and started to creep slowly back upstream. Yet that is huge progress. That is the place where most of the work takes place, is stopping it, turning it, and starting to move it backwards into the direction that we really want to go. So by the time that people see it, we will be completely away from the falls. We will be up on the smooth water, and the sun will be shining, and the birds will be tweeting, right? And then they'll be like, oh, look at this. But the heavy work is happening right now, and I'm asking everyone to, one, find their ballot, and it was mailed to them the last week of January, and it was in their magazine, their NRA magazine. There's a sticker on the front. If they go to the website, electanewNRA.com, there is a picture of every cover of the magazine, depending on which magazine you had picked as your magazine. It shows you what it ought to look like, so you can go look in your stack of magazines. You know exactly which one you're looking for. And then you need to vote for the slate of candidates. So when you pull your ballot out, the centerfold, we bought a centerfold ad. It was not inexpensive, and there's a bunch of people who believe in it, and so everybody ponied up some money to buy this ad so that you can take your ballot. You can look at this ad that's got all 28 faces on it. You can cross off their face, find them on the ballot. The ballot is not in order because every ballot is different. There's 5 different ballots because people only read the small amount, so they'll read the first 5 names, pick somebody, and go. So we want you to vote for 28 names. 26 of them are on the little fill in the circles, and 2 of them are write-in candidates, and it says right there they are write-in candidates. It'll give you all the information. You can go to the website. It'll tell you. For write-in candidates, you actually need their name and the town in which they live. And so that is all on the website.
Now, when is this election taking place?
It started the 3rd week of January, and it ends. The ballots have to be in the hands of the ballot counters. And it's a third-party service, but in the hands of the ballot counters by April 6th. If they do not have it, or if the post office holds up on it, or if it's still sitting on your kitchen counter or riding around in your car, it does not count. If you vote for 29 instead of 28, it does not count. You have to vote 28 or less, and you have to get it there. So we're saying, mail it by the 31st. So you've got a week. Get it up, get it moving.
It's coming quick. Exactly. Right. So getting out the old board, bringing in new blood, as we see, always helps a new organization move forward. What are you prioritizing as far as moving forward? Reorganization, membership, advocacy. I know your advocacy is ongoing, but it isn't publicized. What are the priorities?
So one of the advantages of a larger board is to divvy it up and head in different directions. And we look at each person's skill set and say, okay, here's your area of expertise. So what are you going to grab? What's your chunk, and how are you going to run with it? So membership is a big piece of it. Marketing and media is a big piece of it. The advocacy stuff has been ongoing and will continue to go. So it's really just talking about it. And right now, the NRA is the elephant in the room when it comes to Second Amendment stuff. So when you go to D.C. or when you go to the State House, the NRA has a seat at the table. And there's a lot of people who are like, well, I'm going to give my money to this organization or that organization. Some of them are really, really good, and we're working with them, and they are working with the NRA. And so, and I'll drop some names. Second Amendment Foundation is amazing. And they work with the NRA, and the NRA works with them to write amicus briefs and to support the lawsuits that are going back and forth. Firearms Policy Coalition. We have a lawyer that works at the NRA that was from FPC. And so they have a relationship there. And so they are working with them, again, amicus briefs. So we've got a guy that, the NRA has been persona non grata in some of the other organizations for a while. He was invited to speak at Second Amendment Foundation's Gun Rights Policy Conference, as was I. So it is that we're building those bridges, building those relationships. Eric Pratt and I were just recently at an event together, and one of the words that he had said to me in the past was, we, no matter which organization it is, needs the NRA, because the NRA takes all incoming fire, and then we can be quicker and nimble in other areas. And that makes a lot of sense. If we all work together, we can obtain something. There's organizations that I'm not going to name because they solely fundraise on fear. They are for-profit organizations that the names and the faces that you see live on it. And I don't believe that they're in the same class as these larger groups. And so, you and I have both heard people say, not another dime to the NRA until Wayne's gone. Not another dime until the lawyers are gone. Not another dime until, and that's fine. We're past all of that. So that's the first warning or volley or shout out I want to give people. But the second is, if you heard people say that and yet they did not actually give their money, and data proves that they didn't give their money to SAF or FPC or GOA, then that is more telling about what they think about the mission than the way that they were. I personally like members of several of those organizations because their work is good. And there's room for all of us. Well,
like you said, there are great organizations, and I've had some of them on my show as well. We've always been a staunch supporter of our First and Second Amendment rights and will continue to do so. I think the rebranding and rebuilding of the NRA is going to be a monumental task. It's not an overnight thing, as you said. It's ongoing. It's going to take a little time, but I think it's time to come back to the NRA and support those who are there to support our rights, because it's not just our gun rights at risk here. It's everything. Without the Second Amendment, there's no First Amendment, and no other amendments are abided by without the Second Amendment.
Did you know that there was Did you know there's a First Amendment case that just worked through the Supreme Court that was brought by the NRA because they had been shut down in New York? It's called the Vulo case, so it's NRA versus Vulo, where they had threatened different companies in New York State that was working with the NRA or sponsoring the NRA or partnering with or doing business with, and they had threatened them with different government overreach, override, thumb on their necks kind of thing. And so the NRA went and took a First Amendment case and won. And so the NRA is not only fighting for the Second Amendment, they are fighting for the voice of the First Amendment.
Well, being a New Yorker,
God bless you.
I'm in the heart of the fight here.
That is it. Somebody was one time, and I know you get it, is, why don't you leave? And it's like, no. You got to think about it like a Sugarland song. Why don't you stay? Because we need you to be there to keep the fight from spreading and keep the disease from spreading to free America.
Well, look what happened. You guys won the New York stuff, and
yep,
everything is teed up to go in the right direction. And you guys, like you said, you're going to run it as a business and not a yacht club. And so when that happens, you have transparency and you get people back involved in the PR from the whole organization. That just motivates a lot of people to really support that. And if you get that mission out there in front of people about supporting the Second Amendment, which protects the First and every other amendment in the whole country, then then I think we're definitely going in the right direction. You're going to turn the ship around quicker than I think it's going to be quicker than people are thinking.
I agree with that, Marcus. And it's easy for people to get up and say, you know what? I'm leaving New York, I'm leaving Chicago, I'm leaving California, and I'm going to a Constitution-friendly state, a gun-friendly state. But that leaves the Kathy Hochul's, the Letitia James, the Andrew Cuomo's of our country. They're winning.
Mm-hmm.
Don't allow that.
Yeah.
Stand up, let your voice be heard, vote. Vote in the local elections, because that affects the big elections.
That's what Amanda said, that only 77,000. I mean, man, how apathetic is that? But I think part of the reason, Amanda, correct me if I'm wrong, but people didn't vote because they didn't really know who to vote for. And so you guys, I mean, it's complicated, right? I don't want to vote for something local if I don't know the people. I might be voting for the wrong person. So you guys are making it really easy with this new website. Here's where you go to get the good people that are on the mission, and it's just, do a little bit of homework, and then you can be an educated voter, and that participation should go up to 100%. Everybody that's an American, especially in this organization, if you've earned that right to vote, vote, do your thing, be a patriot.
So, Amanda, where do we go to find out who to vote for in this new NRA election?
The website, so once you have your ballot in your hand, go to the website, Elect a New NRA. And so that will be, if you've got your magazine that's got your ballot, if you rip the ballot out, there's actually, the website's written right in front of you now. So there's a brown 2-page ad that will tell you but go to there. There are all 28 candidates that we have on our slate card. There is a bio for each and every one of them, so you can read about them. I know that we split it up because trying to vet 28 people, but we split it up amongst a group of us to vet, and I'll tell you, everybody that I talk to in this group, both the ones that I helped select and both the ones and the ones I've interacted with afterwards, I'm really, really pretty impressed with them. What they bring to the table, why they're here, why they're in the fight. I mean, one of them is the New York State Director for Women for Gun Rights, Teresa Einacker. So she's in, I said New York? New Jersey. And she is actually a lawyer that is licensed to practice at the Supreme Court level. So, I mean, so not only does she fight the fight for women for gun rights in one of the bellies of the beast, you know, New Jersey, and then at the Supreme Court level, so she understands that portion of it and the litigation portion. And so it's great to be able to go to her and say, okay, here's this. Explain to me what this really means. You know, it's great.
Well, I think we covered a lot of important information here today. What's next for the NRA?
Well, I think that the big thing is to, one, I wanted to go back. So, and then ask that question. So I wanted to go back to something that Marcus said about people not voting and that. And you really are right that you don't want to vote for something that you don't know or you don't know who the person is. And, you know, there's all these names. So do you pick them because you like their name or because somebody that had a name like that lived down the street when you were a kid? No. So you're like, I'll just let somebody else who's more knowledgeable. And then there are a lot of board members and they're out and they're active, but most of them don't tout, look at me, I'm an NRA board member. So you just know them as they're out there doing something. They're an advocate. They're fighting for your rights in some way, but you didn't know. So the head, it's just interesting that there are many times in your life when you bump up against someone that you would love to know who they are, not only their name but what their background is, and you never have an opportunity. And I think that's a big thing about the NRA board is it's people who live among you that are the board. And hopefully they bring a series of skills that will help. And so what's next is that. So we've got a budget for this year. We're going to focus on membership. So there's membership drives. There is trying to get the word out to people, because I've found that once you start to explain to people what's happened and where we are and where we're turning and how we have hope and vision for the future, then they're like, oh, okay, I just needed to hear that and I'm back in. Because they didn't hear it, and they haven't been hearing it. And part of that is because the NRA is so throttled in the news that I have a Facebook page that is my NRA Board of Directors Facebook page. And if you search for my name, you can't find that page unless you put my name in and NRA. Otherwise, you will just find my standard page, but you won't find that page because it's throttled. When you use those three magic letters, NRA, the news doesn't show it, Facebook doesn't show it. You don't know that you're missing it. So it's a big job for the NRA to figure out how to change the messaging, how to change the marketing, and how to get the word out within the confines of where we are as a society that thinks that they can throttle things that are 100% perfectly legal and completely patriotic, yet we don't like that word, and so we're going to throttle it back and not let people see it. Well,
that goes back to inhibiting our First Amendment, thanks to Elon Musk taking over Twitter and giving us our First Amendment back. We need more people like that.
We do. We absolutely do. So it's going to be a big job for the NRA. I'd encourage anybody who is somewhere near Atlanta to try to come to the NRA annual meeting. It is in April in Atlanta. I think it's April, I don't know, in the 20s. The weekend in the 25th maybe, something like that. Of course I did my homework and looked up what the date was. But it's in Atlanta. And if you've not been to an NRA annual meeting, it is free to members, and you can join right there if you want to. And then you're a member for a year, and you can. But it's fabulous. It is absolutely fabulous, and you will walk and you will see and you will just love it.
Well, I go to the NRA show every year, wherever it is, Dallas, Indianapolis. This year it's in Atlanta. I was just down there in January. It's always a great event. and you're around like-minded individuals, gun owners, shooting enthusiasts, constitutionalists. There's always something going on. It's a great event. They have after-hours events as well, so definitely make your way down there. I want to thank both of you for taking the time to speak to us and inform us of the upcoming election and what to expect out of the new NRA. And I'm excited to what the future holds.
I think the future is very bright for us. I really do. And I just encourage everybody, if you are if you are right now voting eligible, please go find your magazine and vote, because we need you. And so elect a new NRA is not just the website name. It really is the slogan of our heart.
Our country's going in the right direction, and the NRA is an important institution and going in the right direction now. So, hey, we're powers of when we unite and when we're honest and upfront and, God-fearing people and do things the right way. And that's what this is all about, getting things, the whole country and the whole world back on track.
And then the last call to action is, hey, Marcus, join the NRA. And for those of you who've let your NRA membership lapse, join the NRA. It needs you, we need you, and we have turned it around, and we're slowly chugging upriver. And
if you can't find where to renew your membership to the NRA, you could actually find an ad in American Outdoor News. Click on that, and you could renew your membership there.
There you go. Look at that.
There you go. All right. I appreciate you both taking the time. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks very much.